car buying tips. I thought I would go over a few car buying tips that I've used and I know they work. Tip number 1 is to conduct research. So never just drive by and pull in and just look around. Don't do that. Look around online while you're at home, and you're not going to do anything rash, because sometimes our eyes are bigger than our wallets. So we will end up buying something we have no business buying. The second tip here is to compare your options. So when you're looking around, find 2 or 3 that you like or that you're interested in and compare those. The next tip is to find a sale. If you're going to purchase from a dealership, they are always having deals, sales, end of year, whatever. Next would be to consider all of your payment options. Always negotiate. Buy what you can afford. Again, sometimes our eyes are bigger than our wallets, and we have to be very aware that this purchase can impact us for years to come. The next one is to be prepared to walk away. So make peace with the fact that you might not buy anything when you go out the day that you're out looking for something. Financing. So this would go along with your payment options, but this is specifically if you're going to finance. Get pre-approved. That's a must. The last thing is to get a good deal. Conducting research, we want to compare pricing, okay? We want to compare rates, and we want to consider how we're going to finance the car. Unless you have cash, which would be great. Not a lot of people have that option. So compare prices, find what you're looking for, and another little tip for that is to ask for the invoice. And I know people get weird about this, but if a car dealership is not willing to let you know what they paid for a car, then you should probably not be working with that car dealership. So always ask to see the invoice so you can see what they paid. Of course, they're not going to give it to you for what they paid, but there should be a middle ground, a place where everyone can be happy in there. That's the whole point of making deals. So next, we're going to compare our options. So some of us may be able to buy new cars. Consider a used car. Now, when you say used car, people automatically assume you're saying drive around in a hoopty or a car that's 30 years old. No, there are cars that are 2 years old. There are cars that are 5 years old that still can be a good option. We have what they call pre-owned, and that is another version of a used car. it is slightly used. That's why they don't call it used. It's pre-owned. So check out those. Those are also very good options. They're often a few years old, but they have a lower mileage. And then you can also consider a private seller. You know, look around. You never know what you're going to find. Just give yourself enough time to make sure you make the right choice. I feel like people should take it a lot more serious. Find a sale. So they have sales during the holidays. They have what they call sales events. Particular dealerships will just throw an event. There's end of month, which is the best time to buy a car at the end of the month. They're trying to hit their quotas. They have sales quarterly, and they also usually have sales, obviously, yearly. And this can give you a significant discount if you find the right time to go. So again, it's going to require research. It's going to require looking around. It's going to require being patient and moving strategically. So next up, we have payment options. So for the payment options, we have different ones. You could have a trade-in. Trade-ins, sometimes they will lowball you. So if you could sell your car privately before you go car shopping, that might also be a good alternative to consider. And then we have a down payment, which is another option if you can save up a couple $1,000s to put down towards the car. You can also pay in full. And then, of course, there is financing. You always negotiate, and some people are a little shy with this, but you have to be bold when you're doing a negotiation. So we're going to negotiate the price, of course. You can also negotiate your interest rate. You can also negotiate your payment and the length of the loan. Those are all negotiable things. And when you're negotiating, a tactic that works is to say you get to a price that you're happy with, and you just will tell them, the last thing you say is, take X amount off. So I'm going to just use 500 as an example. Take 500 off, and we have a deal. You'll be surprised how quickly they will take that extra $500 off. So just you can put any amount here depending on the deal you're making. Buy what you can afford. This is where people are getting it all twisted up. It needs to be something that gets you where you need to go. It needs to be viable. It needs to go from A to B. It can look nice, but it's not going to be the top of the line, or maybe it's not going to be your dream car. That's something that comes later when your finances are all in order. You should still be driving something that is affordable, not aesthetic. So when it comes to what you're buying and what you can afford, stop before you purchase and consider if you can get something smaller. Consider a different brand. Consider something older. All of these things should be done during this research phase as well. And then we have be prepared to walk away. have a final price in mind for yourself. My rule of thumb is to stay within $500 of that. So, say your final price is $10,000. So you can either go down 500 or up 500. Other than that, we're walking out. We need to be firm in what we need for our situation. When you're doing the deal, ask for the out the door price. And then try to haggle that, negotiate that to within $500 either way of your goal price. You can up your 500 to 1,000 or to 2,000, but you want to make sure you can afford it. That's the most important thing. Never, I'm going to say never, finance through the dealership or a bank. They do not work for you. They want to make money. That's all they care about. And sometimes you might get a good deal if they have like one of those 1% finance deals or whatever. But most of the time, this is a no-no. And you want to go through a credit union. Always a credit union. Always a credit union. To get pre-approved. So before you go to the dealership, before you enter into the talks, you should have already put in for a loan. And that would be before you shop. So when you shop, you will have your check in hand, and you can use that as a bargaining tool as well. Let's say you go to the credit union and they say, okay, we'll give you $25,000 for your car at such and such rate. Doesn't matter as long as it's a good rate for you. Then when you go to buy the car, you can tell them, I have a $25,000 limit. So what can you do for me? And trust me, they will do something for you, especially if you're pre-approved. You will be treated completely different, quite honestly. So the last thing is to get a good deal. This requires you to first know what you want. So we're going to research, we're going to compare, we're going to look through what we can afford. We're going to find out our finances before we even go in there. And if they don't give us what we want or something close to what we want, we are going to walk away. Know what you want. You have to be confident. And you have to be prepared. And you need to be informed. Always remember that you should ask for the invoice, see what they've paid for the car so they're not completely tearing you up. Also make sure, again, that you do at least a few of these steps before you enter the car dealership to even discuss the car. These are things you should do first. So again, make sure that you are making the deal that is best for your financial picture, that you're considering the fact that you will be paying for this item for years, and make sure that you are putting the time and effort that you should in purchasing a vehicle. It should not be, again, something you just do on a whim. It should never be that. Let me know what you think.